It's me, Stephen Englander, and we've got tonight's dose of Between the Spreadsheets. On tonight's show, we're going to look at the cost of living crisis, the working from home rules, and what else was there? And PayPal are bringing out their own crypto. But first, let's have a look at what Boris is doing. So we all know that there's been all these parties and all these problems with Boris, and he seems to be trying to slime his way out of things. You know, I think someone said to me that Fred West knew how many people were in his garden. Why didn't Boris? But that's a bit of a cheap shot, isn't it, Hayden? Would you say that's about our Prime Minister? It is a bit naughty, isn't it?
I do believe our Prime Minister is
No.
less charming than Fred West, yes.
Yeah, probably a bit so. But, you know, the main way out of him, the traditional way out of this type of embarrassment for a Prime Minister is to go and invade some country that can't possibly harm us in any way or defend itself. But, you know, everyone rallies behind the Prime Minister and things are finished. So there you go, Boris. That's my bit of advice. Go and invade somewhere. But, you know something, I shouldn't take any of these cheap shots at the Prime Minister because, and in all honesty, the only decent Prime Minister we've ever had, because they'll do this type of thing, was Paul Eddington. Do you remember Paul Eddington? Jim Hacker. Best Prime Minister we've ever had.
Oh, Yes Minister.
Yes Minister. Do you remember that show?
No, I'm not as old as you.
Yeah, but it still circulates. I quite enjoyed the show. It was quite a clever show. But enough about the Prime Minister, which is in no relation at all to the next story, which is about transplanting kidneys from pigs. There's a good one, isn't it? Can you imagine that? They've genetically altered a pig and been able to transplant kidneys into somebody, and I think they did it with a heart as well. So it could well change the whole face of medicine if if they're able to transplant organs from animals into human beings. That'd be a good reason to become a pig farmer if no other. Can you imagine how much money there's going to be in this?
It's a reason. It's not just all animals, of course. Pigs are very similar to us internally. That's why we are called the long pig.
The long pig, yeah, that's human meat, isn't it?
Yes, apparently we're a lot like pork.
Yeah, I'm not going to taste anyone, but not in that way anyway. But it just shows you. It shows you where it shows you where science is going, though. Science and the commercial world are sort of like hand in hand with everything, and I think it's very important to know what's going on in the science world. But I've had kidney problems, as you know. I had a kidney removed a few years ago, and it's not pleasant. And if there's any way of, getting another one, then that's great. I mean, my solution was to have more kids, but apparently that's frowned upon. You can't grow kids just to have their kidneys.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. The guy that invented Ethereum has put forward that the answer to all our problems is to have mechanical childbirth, like false wombs, replacement wombs, thereby sorting out the gender pay gap, because women won't have to get pregnant. They can just grow children in pods.
It seems
then harvest them.
It seems a lot to do just to get rid of the gender pay gap.
Yeah, well, it does seem a little extreme.
Just pay men less.
Yeah, wouldn't it be easier just to level it out? But there you go.
I don't know. I mean, they're looking at all sorts of things across the world to level out this field. I don't understand it. I mean, like at the moment, do you know that there's a trial going on starting in June for a 4-day week, and they're actually looking for companies to join this trial where you see how it works out. A 4-day week. I mean, remember, we used to work a 7-day week, didn't we? And a 6-day week and a 5-day week. And
no,
you don't remember. No. Well, you're in the media business, of course, so 1-day week is enough. But no, this 4-day week trial. I mean, I'm not sure how I think of that. Will people do the same work? I mean, if you can do 100% of the work in 4 days that you can in 5 days, then why aren't you doing them in 5 days? This is the problem. It's management and supervision that people are doing this stuff. But what the real issue? Well, not the real issue. What it means by 4-day week is not that you reduce the amount of time that you work. You just do the same hours in less time. So instead of having 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you do 4 days at 10 hours a day, and the powers that be believe that people will have more rest and they'll be more motivated because they can have 3 days off 4 days working. So, the more focus. I sort of get that because I was sort of been self-employed. So I've never really considered the 9 to 5 work week. To me, I just what needs to get done. So it's not like 9 till 5. Some days I can be out 7 till 10. 7 till 10 at night. Saturdays and Sundays are just a work day if it needs to be. So I've never really been of that mindset where I care about a 4-day work week. But it's whatever works, and if you fancy that, then fine. Personally, I think there's better ways of getting more work out of staff and motivating people more. I think we should concentrate on technology. No.
Whips.
When I say
Okay,
technology, no whips, because you still need someone to administer the whipping. And
you can get
so it's just
good money
another
for
way
that kind
just
of
to
thing.
whip some. Some people pay for it, but we're not in that industry. No. When I say technology, I'm talking about chips in people's brains.
No.
Yes,
no,
because
no, no,
then we can administer pleasure or pain points to enable the work to get done.
Yeah. No.
No,
No.
you don't like that.
No, I do not like that now because it's horrifyingly close to what they're going to be doing pretty soon anyway.
I know.
So not key.
I'm nothing if not provocative. I say what's there to make people think. Would you be chipped? Would you be chipped, Hayden, if it improved your entire ability to perform and work? I mean, sometimes I think some tasks, especially some days when I'm dealing with certain people or situations, I'd rather have a chip in my brain that just turns everything off, does the job, and when I wake up, it's all done.
See, transhumanism.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm up for it.
I've got to say, when you think about the positives, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you think about some of the negatives, and I'm not that excited.
Well, anyway, the 4-day week, there's trials in progress. Be interesting to see what happens.
Are you in favour of it, Stephen?
I am in favour of free and let people do what they want, when they want, as long as it doesn't harm anyone, and as long as people do what they say or need to do.
Because I think, don't Netflix, they've operated like that for years, haven't they?
Some companies do. I think some firms. I think that the work economy should be less to do with pay per hour and pay per performance.
Yeah, targets, results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think the time matters. I think if you want a job done, or if you want to build a car, then you pay for having the car built rather than being every day. Because the problem is more and more, it's harder to manage people. So because people don't always tell the truth, and I mean it's like there was a thing on LinkedIn that I was following a bit. It was a bit horrible, but somebody posted something that I'd received from a member of staff, which was a COVID test, and the COVID test was falsified to make it look like the guy had COVID, and the boss found out, and it's gone all over LinkedIn, and people aren't very happy with it. Other people are coming back and saying, well, look at the working conditions for him to have to do something like that. But the main thing with employees is what a twat, honest to God, and I think that's the problem. If people could be relied on to do the job, then I don't think a 4-day week, a 3-day week, a 2-day week, I don't think it matters. But I think in the main, people think they can be relied on, but they're not. So it's much better to get I pay for the job. I mean, like if I get people in to do work for me, in the main, I'll always say, I'm not paying you a daily rate. I'll pay you for the job, and that's it. And you pay them when the job's done. But the law doesn't like that, because the law wants us to take responsibility for everybody, so they don't have to. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, but if you've got an opinion of that, I'd love to hear what you've got to say about it.
Just to be really awkward, Steve, could
Yes.
you stop leaning back so far? Because you do go out of focus.
Oh, right, I'll move my chair forward.
Yeah, if you
because I'm
want, just
rocking
to
a
where-
bit,
where we
because
were
I'm
when we
on
settled.
one.
I understand. I didn't want to interrupt the flow, but you were getting fuzzy.
Am I okay now?
Beautiful.
The loan guarantee scheme. I mean, we had the bounce back loans. We've had all sorts of other loans, but there is the government provide you the caveat. You live up to the criteria. They'll guarantee up to 70% of a loan. So if you do need loans to the business, then do go into your bank or most lending institutions and ask them to apply. So it's much, much easier to get, and the rates aren't too bad. I'm not a great fan of borrowing money just because you can, or in general to grow the business. I prefer things like trade finance, where if you've got a deal that you need to fund, the lender gets a fixed share of the deal, or he gets, for the amount of time that you want the money. But that way, the money you lend is always fixed to the deal in hand. A bit like, well, it's not a bit like anything. It's just trade finance. And if you want to know more about that, do let me know. And again, if you want if you want a government guaranteed loan, do contact. Why are you laughing?
Just Duke Bradsey in the chat there said, now the video is too good, we can see that you didn't shave today.
Oh, it's
designer, isn't it? Designer. Stubble. There we go.
I found that when I don't shave, it hides the fat a bit more here. But thank you for that anyway. Have you noticed, Hayden? Have you noticed?
Not much.
No, you'll like this one because it's right up your street. There's a lot more like documentaries and shows on like alien existences and Loch Ness and.
It's because they're getting ready to reveal them.
It seems something, doesn't it? It seems something.
Oh, they're revving us up. The government have admitted there are unidentified flying objects, not necessarily aliens, but unidentified flying objects, which means that our galactic overlords are about to reveal themselves and unleash a new epoch upon humanity.
What about just looking at it as an opportunity? Like, if we discover Bigfoot, we can sell them more shoes, can't we?
Or skin them and stuff them.
There's got to be a positive side,
Bigfoot's in the Appalachians in America. It's going to get skinned and stuffed. That's what's going to happen after some light molestation.
You just always look on the dark side.
I'm just a realist.
You're not like Warren Buffett.
No, there are many differences between me and Warren Buffett. Yes.
He's got three. He's been in the news with. He's always in the news doing something. I mean, incredible person, especially at his age. But he sort of says he's got three tenets in life. He says, first of all, learn to say no to most things.
Yeah, I struggle with that.
Yeah, but he's obviously spoke to my girlfriend.
Also, I've seen him. He's never said no to a meal. Not a single one.
Yeah. Surround yourself with people of integrity.
Very good idea.
Yeah. And increase your knowledge daily. And that's where we come in, because you're increasing your knowledge daily. Do you see what I did there?
I did. That was very smooth. That was very slick.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you. Talking about going back to living longer and science and more things to do, because I know it's a business show, but you should know your science. Jeff Bezos and Amazon have they've put $2 billion into a firm called Altos Labs, and they're looking for extending your life. So they reckon we can live for hundreds of years more, cure diseases, and all to do with telomeres and things in your body that they're investigating. Now they're doing some prime study into living a lot longer.
They're going to take away the one thing we can look forward to.
Death.
Yes, the end of all
I
this.
thought you were going to say other people's deaths.
Do you know what? As long as it happens.
You missed that one, didn't you?
As long as it happens.
No fun if you don't say it.
If this thing, though, if they cure disease,
yes,
but we live for 300 years,
yes.
Now, they'd have to cure aging, wouldn't they? Because I've seen people who are like 100 years old. They look terrible.
Yeah, but I think they will.
They don't know what day it is. They've got brittle bones. They fall over.
I'm 59. You're describing me, but I think that comes with it, doesn't it? Because if they make you live longer, they've obviously got to make you stronger. And
there'll be sharks. They're looking at sharks. Sharks don't really age.
The thing is,
or get cancer.
We're getting older as well. We're all getting older and living longer. So we really need to have more money coming in to survive longer.
Oh yeah, push that pension age up to 180.
Yeah, but it's not just pensions. It's having businesses that take care of us. Do you know what the difference is between being rich and being wealthy, Hayden?
Do you know what? I do actually, but why don't you tell the
I'll
boys
tell
and
the
girls?
audience.
Yes.
I'll tell the boys and girls. Being rich is generally a sign of a good salary. Being wealthy is a sign of income coming in from what you call it, investments, and that's a much better way, because being wealthy always retains your your ability to be rich. Being rich, once the income supply stops, your job or whatever, you've no longer got, you're living on capital then. So most accountants should work with you to turn your richness into wealth. And if we do live to be 300, then we're okay. We can just keep going. That's what I'm saying from that. But going back to Bezos, do you think he's a humanitarian? Do you think all these guys are humanitarians, or do you think they're doing it for publicity?
I think it's going to be a bit of everything.
Because they'll definitely get a lot of tax grants.
Because you don't hear about how much he does give to charity. Same with J.K. Rowling. She is no longer a billionaire because she gave a huge chunk away.
Yeah.
And he sent William Shatner into space.
Yeah.
Granted, his employees aren't treated very nicely, but you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs.
And basically, whether we like it or not, people with a lot of money, power and influence can do more than those that don't. So whether they intend to or not, a byproduct is often they do some good.
And not only that, I think most people really detest him because he didn't start off immensely wealthy.
No.
He was successful, and there are a few things people hate more than success.
I think a lot of business people don't. I think they look at it as an example. I think a lot of business people, even if they really don't care what goes on like that, but I think they just look at it as, well, what did he do? Maybe I can copy it. But I think businesses are often great influences in society, whether they're big or small. I think the average business person has more personal power than most people, whether they believe it or not. And you see it all the time. Business people do change their environment, and I think they can do a lot of good, or they can just help themselves and do a lot of good by helping themselves. Look after your own business, and you'll also look after the guy next door. That's usually what happens. Bring business to your shop, and the guy next door will also benefit, and vice versa. So incidentally, do you know when we're talking about staff before a 4-day week? There seems to be a bit of a problem with recruitment at the moment. I don't see it, but I hear it, and I often wonder. People don't ask me, don't say to me, "I've got a problem with employment." I'm just reading it in the news, so I'm just wondering whether outsourcing could alleviate some of that problem. I mean, basically, if somebody works from a desk, they could work anywhere in the world. And you've got companies all over the world that specialise in certain things, from anything really, from law to web design to anything. So if you're having trouble getting staff, why not look at sourcing? I mean, I was with a client today that operates, this is why it came to my head, that operates sort of like desk centres across the world. And it's interesting what they're capable of doing. So I can always make an introduction if that's something you're interested in. But outsourcing or remote employment could be an answer. If you got, like I say, it's somebody. I mean, we do accounts for people all over the country. We've got people like right down in Devon and way up to Scotland. And obviously they don't pop the paperwork in by popping round and coming in, but we've worked well with them for years. So it can be done. So if you do want to have a chat and having a look at the problems in your business, these are things that I quite enjoy and I'm quite good at, and I'll help you restructure and find the best means for your business. Send me an email and we'll be in touch.
I think outsourcing gets a really bad rep based on how it used to be.
Yeah.
I think it's changed a hell of a lot.
Well, you can control it more as well because you've got. I mean, if you think about it today, I can be on a Skype meeting. I can be talking to someone on my computer, and they can be on the other side of the world, and it makes no difference whether they're on next door. I can be controlling their computer from my computer, and vice versa. There's so much legislation now across the world that you are quite protected. There's all sorts of insurance, and there's you can have just as much damage by the wrong employee working at the desk opposite you than from someone sat the other side of the world. You can even have things like, if you're not there, where the software takes photographs of their computers every 5 minutes to see what they're working and then measures it to see if they're doing anything. I mean, we don't want a Big Brother scenario, but if you're nervous, there's lots of safeguards. It's nice to have people working locally to you or next to you, but sometimes it's just about getting the job done. And if you can't find people, then there are options to you, and I think the government's going to learn that these options are going to be made more the norm, and they're going to have to do something to make life easier.
That's what we want. Automation.
Automation's another one. A lot
Let's
of things.
take people out of it.
Well, my attitude to automation is that it doesn't have to make people lose their jobs. It means they can move on to better jobs and more interesting jobs, and do more time of things that are of higher value. Because I think we still need that human contact and sometimes that human eye, and I think ideas need to come from people a lot. But maybe flipping a burger might be automated and give that guy that was doing the burger flipping something better to do. Yeah, no. Why are you laughing at me?
No reason.
Okay. Well,
we should make them all the CEO of really big companies. That's
yeah,
the way forward.
yeah. Anyone but the actual CEOs.
What they're going to do is replace everyone with robots, and then it's time for Soylent Green. That's
So I was talking about Soylent Green today. It was what do you do with people that are useless? I mean, is there any such thing as people that are useless? And the idea in this film, of course, Soylent Green, was it Charlton Heston?
Yes.
It was actually a book called Make Room by Harry Harrison that I read as a kid. Didn't quite get it, but and it's just basically saying the world was so overcrowded that they encouraged people to euthanize themselves, and we ate them. They were turned into this like looked a bit like soya, and we ate them. That's not
Soylent Green is
so again. I mean, I did hear something else once that if your employees are so good, sell them. But this is another version of that, isn't it?
Yeah, we're edging desperately close to people trafficking. Now we're probably best avoiding that.
Do you know? Apparently, being self-employed makes you happier.
Imagine how utterly miserable I'd be.
Most people are, yeah. No. Apparently, on average, someone that runs their own business works probably 60 hours. They often get paid less. They often take a fraction of the holidays available to an employee, and they in the main they're happier. I think it's that doing things their way without being held to account for it, except by customers. 100%. There's a lot of that, isn't it?
Well, you've got no one breathing down your neck, have you? I mean, you might have deadlines with contracts and clients and things, but it's your time, it's your way.
You can make your own choices. Yeah.
And that's worth a lot.
I don't think I'd make a good employee anyway.
I know you wouldn't make
I wouldn't. I'm always very suspect of a firm that would employ me.
I know I'm a terrible employee.
You're the worst
I am
ever.
The worst. Because I still believe I'm self-employed.
You still believe a lot of things like you said, like you're still 30. But
oh, believe me, sir, if there's one thing I do not believe, it's that this broken down old man is 30.
Yeah. I can't believe how old I'm getting, honestly. There's nothing like kids, like grandchildren and little ones, even yours. We went to the pictures. How long ago did we go? How old was your son when we first started going?
Oh, okay.
3.
He was like a toddler, wasn't he?
Yeah.
3-ish,
and now he's like 22.
He's the size of one, yeah. No, he's 9.
No, it's just, when you see kids growing up, it doesn't half make you feel older.
I know.
And now we've got PayPal launching its own version of crypto.
Oh, joy of joys.
Do you know what money is? Money is a sort of like promise. It says like for instance, say if I gave you an IOU for £10, I said I promise to pay you £10. Would you take it?
From you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably, because you know me, I'm going to give you the money. But if you then gave that IOU to some guy in the off license, would he take it?
Only in my wildest fantasies.
Yeah, because he doesn't know me. And this is what money is. It's the government saying, I'll pay you this £10. So because you trust the government, you take the £10. I mean, when I used to have a shop in the centre of Manchester, and we used to get tourists all over the place, and I'd take payment in dollars and all sorts of payments because I trusted that government. So it's a matter of trust. And this is it with crypto. I don't like the concept of crypto where it has no value except a depository of money. of somewhere to put money and hope it gets more valuable. But as a transactional device, then why not? As a financial instrument, then why not? If someone paid me in crypto, some form of cryptocurrency, whether it's Dodge, what's the one we're losing money on at the moment?
Oh, Shiba.
Shiba
We're not
Inu.
losing. We're still in
steady,
front.
or Ethereum, or what's the big one?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yes.
Then fine, but as long as I can transact with it. So who cares? Who cares whether it's PayPal or Visa or the government, sterling or whatever, as long as we can transact with it. And I think this is where we're going. I think ultimately it's all going to be backed by some mainstream government currency just for legislation reasons, because they're going to wipe everything else out. But if PayPal come along and say, right, we will accept cryptocurrency, then either PayPal will have to translate that into whatever currency we are happy to take, or we'll be happy to take crypto. So I'm wondering how it'll work. So say you pay me my fees. At the moment, you set up a direct debit, pay it into my company bank account in sterling, and it revolves. But what if you wanted to take me in crypto? In any crypto, I don't really have the facilities to take that money direct. So I suppose that's the next thing that's got to happen. So keep an eye out for that, because it's all very well saying, well, PayPal will take crypto, but then if they pay you, are they going to pay you in crypto? And if they are, then you possibly have another bank account set up, which in turn can transfer through all over the place. So I think all these ideas are going to go down the wayside. I think the blockchain technology can be as clever as it likes, but I think all the way along, I think the Treasury are going to come up with Bitcoin or something like that. That is just another version of the actual currency that we've got. Any thoughts, Hayden?
Obviously they want to do this because they're not happy with cryptocurrency at all, because they have no control over it. You can't control what's on the blockchain. It's
Nope.
I think what most people should do is what people our age invariably do, which is get a wallet, transfer something into it, get completely bummed on the minus fees, delete everything and forget all about it.
Words of wisdom.
There we go.
Just remember, that's why I'm the accountant and Hayden's the filmmaker.
Yes, do not come to me for financial advice.
No.
For the love of God, don't do that.
The working from home room has now been, I said that wrong again. The working from home rule has now been scrapped. Yay. I don't know whether I just give people freedom. If they want to work from home, again, as long as they're doing the job, does it matter to me if they're at home or not? It's a trust thing with a lot of us. But, if you can trust people, why can't they work from home? Good luck to them. So we're coming to the end now, except one nice little story is Netflix and Ricky Gervais. They've been donating benches across the country so people can sit there and just talk to each other.
Wow.
Strangers.
I can think of nothing worse.
Well, you think about it. You can sit down, you don't have to go into a park, and you can throw bread at the birds and sit down to someone you've never met before and have a chat with them.
I'd sooner die of loneliness.
Do you know the original stock markets? There used to be coffee shops, and people used to go. So, like, artists used to go to the artist coffee shop, and business people used to go to the other coffee shop. And I think that's great. I don't know why pubs and coffee shops and cafes don't push that a bit more.
Because Karl Marx happened, and look what came of that.
Yeah, well, they sat in a coffee shop in Salford, didn't they?
It was a pub in Salford, yeah. Him and Engels discussing how
the
disgusting the common people were and things like that.
But besides that, if you think about it, business, even though we've got the internet, even got everything else, is a lot about networking. So if you can mix around people that are interested in your product or you're interested in theirs, or maybe do some joint ventures together, it's a great way of getting to know people. You don't need to be on the phone all day. You don't need to be sending millions of emails out. You just need to wander into a place where there's going to be loads of people that are in the same sort of business, or and get chatting to people. I've always been quite good at that. But
I think networking's a dying art these days. It's
I think it is. It's important.
Online thing, and it's.
I think if Mr. and Mrs. Jones want a pair of shoes, that can all be done online. But I think if you want to do some proper business, especially wholesale business or trade or business to business, I think you need a big element of being able to communicate with someone. I think online through face-to-face stuff does help, but I think it should all mix in. It should be a bit of everything, not try and automate relationships with people. Anyway, one last thing, that BT are raising the costs of broadband as part of, and you know, where's this cost of living crisis going? You know, my attitude to raising prices, if you need to raise prices, but try and give a bit more for them. You know, instead of selling the cheapest thing, the cheapest bread on the market, sell something a bit better. You know, it doesn't make much difference, and you get a better percentage return, and people won't feel as bad paying more for something better or even different. So you know, you don't need to just put the prices up because you know, there's some ships stuck in the Suez Canal, but you do need to let clients and customers know that prices are going up. There's world problems. There's all sorts of things, but you can do a bit better. You know, higher end products offer a lot more of a gap between than the cheaper stuff. There's a lot more profit percentage. So, you know, cheap bread you might make 10%. On a good quality loaf you might make 15%. So you've got more scope to do better. Anyway,
just before we go,
yeah.
Steve, just harking back to, I think it was last week we spoke about the energy crisis.
Yes.
The government have finally come up with a solution.
Okay.
If it gets too expensive, they're going to give the electricity companies money.
Yes.
So that they can keep the end users' bills down.
That's exactly the right thing to do, I don't think.
Oh, the other thing is apparently HMRC are about to write off over £4 billion worth of possible COVID fraud. You know, the benefits fraud. 4 billion, the writing.
Well, I know one or two people that'd be a bit relieved about that. So, you know.
Not me. Not me.
I get nothing.
They just take.
They just, yeah, I get nothing. But thank you very much for joining us. We'll be here next week. And if you've got any queries or any ideas or whatever, just drop me a line and I'll see you soon. Take care.